Good day, students. Today, our topic, we are going to be looking at the history of computer, early counting devices. We are going to be understanding the type of device that is used in the olden days. Our objective is to understand what is early counting devices, also to see the examples of early counting devices. We are going to be seeing the meaning of early counting devices and to see the examples of the type of early counting devices in the olden days. In the olden days, there were no calculators and computers. The early people needed to keep a record of the number of animals they had. There was a need for them to invent a means of counting. As you can see, in the olden days, there is nothing like calculator, no computer, and the early people now came together and tell themselves that what can we use to be counting our belongings? That is, some of them that have plenty cows, some of them has a lot of houses, some of them have plenty shoes. So they now come together and think that what can we use to be counting? The people use their fingers to count and calculate. They use their finger to add and subtract. As you can see, one of the tools that they use is their finger. They use their finger to add and also to subtract. Okay, this is examples of early counting device now. Let us take a look at some of these counting device. Number one is fingers, toes, stones, stick, and pebbles. As you can see on the screen, this is a diagram of fingers on the screen. As you can see, 2 finger plus 2 finger will give you 4. Also, if you look at the one at the down there, you see 5 finger open. So these are the ways that are using to count in the olden days. Also, toes counting device. 5 plus 5 will give you 10. Also plus 5 will give you 15. Plus 5 will give you 20. So you can see now this is another way they are using to count in the olden days. Using those things was not sufficient for counting because human beings have only 10 fingers and 10 toes. So counting large number became difficult for the people. So the early people started using stones, pebbles, and stick. That is another option that they are using, because if you look at your finger, you discover that we have 5 here, 5 here, 5 by the right and 5 by the left. So, and our toes too, 5 by the right and 5 by the left. So they discovered that that was not enough. In a case that they have something to count up to 100, so you can see the time it will take them. So they now thought of using stones, pebbles, and stick. Let us take a look at the picture. This is stones counting. I know some of you in before this class in year 1, you have been using this stones counting before now. So just to drop the stone and count the numbers of belongings that you have or properties. So we have 0, 1 to 10, another 0, 1 to 10. So you can use that to count uh, up to 20, up to, depend on the amount of belongings that you have or they have as at that time. Then also pebbles counting. If you look at pebbles also look like stone counting devices, but it's just that this one is somehow flat. So it's also another tool that they are using to count in the early days. Stick counting. Stick counting device. I know some of you have been using this, even though you are not using the stick direct in your book. You always use pencil to count a particular number. Like now, if you want to count 5, and 3. So you can see when you count 4, then you use another one to cross it, will give you 5. Then you count 1, 2, 3. So you count it together, it will give you 8. So that is another means you can use, they used to count in the early days. All right, I want to believe that we all understood, we understand everything in the class. So this is class fun. What is the earliest counting device? So what is the name of the counting device that were used in the uh, early days? So, and also you are going to give us the definition of early counting devices. Then number 2, if you have 100 cows, what is the appropriate counting device to use? So you are going to answer that. Then draw and calculate 1 pebbles plus 15 pebbles will give you what? 15 stones minus 3 stones will also give you what? 30 sticks plus 4 sticks is equal to what? 5 fingers plus 4 fingers. So you are going to answer all that. Then in our next class, we are going to be looking at later development. There was a strong desire for human beings to develop more efficient devices for calculation. Let us look at some of those devices. Number 1 is abacus. So after they started using stones, fingers, pebbles, stick, and their toes, they now thought of another means there. They sat together and like, okay, what is the next? So they came up with this abacus. Some of you have started using this in your, even right from year 1. I'm sure you are familiar with this before. Abacus consists of a wooden frame with beads on it. Abacus was also used to add and subtract, as you can see from the picture there. So that is, it contains wooden frame and bead on it for calculation. Then another machine that was designed is called Pascaline machine. It was invented in 1642 by the man called Blaise Pascal. It can do addition and subtraction. So please take note of the name of the machine and also the year it was invented. Also, we have multiplier wheel. Multiplier wheel was invented in 1674 by a man called Gottfried Wilhelm von Lebus. This machine is able to carry out addition, subtraction, division, and multiplication. You can see this is this is an upgrade of those ones that we mentioned before. So please take note of the name of this as well, and also the year it was invented. Okay, now it's time for our own fun. We are going to answer this at home. In what year was the multiplier wheel invented? Mention 4 early counting devices or devices that you know. What is the abacus counting device used for? So you are going to answer all that. Alright, thank you for listening to the class and for your participation today. See you in our next class next week. Bye.